business. Thanks for coming out tonight.
I wrote me a manual, a step-by-step booklet for you to get.
Oh, I make money move.
You can't see me, my time is now.
What up, guys? Welcome back to the Fitness Times Business Podcast, the show created to provide you with the practical and strategic advice to help you level up in fitness, in business, in your career, in your relationships, and of course, in your life. My name is Joseph Mencel. I am your host. And guys, I have a short, sharp solo episode for you today. Before I get stuck in, I got a couple of things for you guys right at the start. First and foremost, I just want to say I appreciate each and every one of you who takes the time to share every episode of this show that you're tuning into and you're taking value from. Guys, you know, it's the one thing we ask in return for the value that we provide in this show. And I have seen more Instagram story tags, and I've had more DMs of people just saying how the show has improved their life than I can ever remember in the history of this show. We've been doing this shit for almost 4 years now. We're charting in different categories on iTunes I'd never even thought we'd ever have a chance in charting on. And it's 100% thanks to you guys. You know, we don't run ads for this show. We don't promote this show. We don't run ads on this show. This is all about value exchange. You guys listen to the show. You take enough value from the show that you take time out of your day to actually tell people about the show. You take time out of your day to do what I ask, you know, take a screenshot, post it in your Instagram story, tag me in the screenshot, tag my co-host in the screenshot. And it's thanks to you guys that we're just reaching more people. That's why we do the show. We do the show. There's one fucking reason why we do the show, guys. To provide practical and strategic advice, reach as many people as possible, help as many people as possible, apply the advice, get better, and just fucking win. That's what it's about. And I just want to let you guys know I appreciate each and every one of you who takes the 10 seconds, the 15 seconds, the 30 seconds after each show to share the show. So thank you. Secondly, this episode is for those of you who are trying to execute at the highest level. If that's you, keep listening. If that's not you, no judgment, it's all good. Perhaps go and listen to a different podcast. You guys can tell from the title of this show, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. If your initial reaction to the title of this show is something along the lines of, nah, I disagree, you know, I need to focus on the big things, the little things don't matter, the little 1%ers take up energy and time and resources that I could be spending focusing on the bigger things that do matter, you guys aren't ready for this episode. You're just not there yet. And that's completely fine. Go back. There's fucking hundreds of episodes in this feed you can listen to get to that point. But if you're not at that point, this show is not for you. This episode of this show is not for you. For those of you who are trying to execute at the highest level, for those of you who see the title to this podcast and you go, 100%, I get it. I agree. I'm ready for the practical and strategic advice to be laid out in this episode for me to make sure that I'm doing all the little things, the 1%ers, to my absolute maximum potential. Well, let's get into it. So a little bit of background for you guys. Every Monday here in the Massive Joe's Business, Team J Power, everything that we do in this building, Monday morning, 9 a.m., I have a meeting with my management staff who work here at Massive Joe's headquarters. We've got 9 managers on deck in that meeting. And our Monday meetings usually go for about 30 minutes. We a whole bunch of things from the week before. We're setting up the week moving forward. We're collaborating. We're making sure we're communicating as a team. Our meetings usually go for about 30 minutes. This Monday went for over an hour because every now and again, I've got a little message that I need to share with my management team. Sometimes it's a good message. Sometimes it's a kick up the ass message. Sometimes it's a bit of a pep talk, motivational message. And this week, it was this message that I'm about to share with you guys. The other thing that I do on a Monday is I record a video that goes out to the entire company. So Monday morning is the management meeting. In the afternoon, video goes out to the entire company. Usually goes for about 15 minutes. Once again, this was a message that I shared with the entire company, went for over 25 minutes. And I think that sharing the same message that I share with my team, both my managers and my entire team across the entire business is something that you guys are going to get a lot of value from. And to kind of put it in perspective, this message, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, is particularly important for Massive Joes, for Team J Apparel, for what we do in this core business, because we're right on the verge of fucking exploding onto the next level. We're right there. We're right on the edge. And I've been a little frustrated over the last couple of weeks, if not the last month or so, because I know that the only way we're going to flip the switch, the only way we're going to explode onto that next level is to make sure that we're doing all of the little things to our utmost potential, to make sure that we're focusing on the 1%ers and fucking dominating the 1%ers. Because if we don't, there is absolutely no way that we are going to be able to do what we need to do to explode onto the next level when it comes to the 99%ers, when it comes to the big things, when it comes to the big projects, when it comes to all of our big, higher, overarching goals as a business for all the different areas of the business. It's fucking impossible. So this was my message to my team about why the small things matter, why the 1%ers matter. The first reason, guys, is, and this is probably the most obvious. You instinctively you're gonna get this, right? The 1%ers all add up. 1.01, which is 1 plus 1%, for those of you who struggle a little bit with maths, I do from time to time, no judgment on my behalf. 1.01 to the power of 365. So 1% effort compounded every day for 365 days, an entire year, equals an improvement of 38 times. You can't argue with the maths. If you go the extra 1% every day, consistently, without compromise, you're going to end up 38 times better than if you just cruise control and just do what you have to do and don't worry about the 1%ers. They'll take care of themselves. The 1%ers add up. You guys know that. You know that instinctively. We all understand that instinctively. Those little bits and pieces compound to make a big fucking difference over the long period of time. And 1 year is not a long period of time. It's just the number I decided to use. What's a little bit less obvious is that if you compromise on one thing, you start compromising on everything. And the reason for that is, guys, is because you start building habits and routines around compromising. So if you think a 1%er doesn't matter and you go, you know what, just gonna push that one to the side, just gonna sweep that one under the carpet, it's not a big deal. That's building a habit and routine around compromising on little things, which will eventually leak into compromising on big things. You can't have both at the same time. You can't distinguish between compromising on what you decide is not important and then not compromising on what you decide is important. There's no fucking difference. You compromise on one thing, you'll end up compromising on everything. And then the third reason is if you drop the ball on the little things, if you're unable to crush these small, little 1%ers, how the fuck can you have the audacity to think that you're going to be able to execute on the big 99%ers? If you can't get it right in the small things, in the simple but not easy things, in the tiny little things, you have no fucking chance of getting it right when it comes to the big things, because you're not building the skills. You're not building the habits and the routines. You're not building the ability to crush the small things, which then leads into crushing the medium things, which then leads into crushing the big things. If you can't nail the small things, you have absolutely no chance at nailing the big things. I want to flesh this out with you guys for some examples because my chat with my team was specifically around business and I got some business examples. But you know what? Let's start with fitness because this is something we can all relate to. If you're following a diet and your diet involves weighing your food, which it should because it's the only way you can figure out how many fucking calories and macros you're consuming, every gram in your diet counts. Those are the 1%ers. You can't let the grams of the food that you're consuming slide. You can't go, you know what, I need 30 grams of cereal in this meal and I've overweight it and it's 33 grams, but fuck it, you know, it's only 3 grams, it's only 10%, not a big deal. You can't expect to let that slide and then go, you know what, it's fine, I'll just make up for it because I'll train a little bit harder today, or I'll do a little bit more cardio today, or whatever the fuck kind of excuse you come up with to allow your diet to slide and expect that you'll make up for it in different areas of your fitness. You can't let the small things slide in your diet and expect not to filter down into the big things when it comes to your training, your cardio, all different areas of your fitness regime. Every gram counts in your diet. Every gram counts. When it comes to your business, depending on what sort of business you guys run or are a part of, the presentation of your business counts. The way you treat every single customer in your business counts. If you run retail stores and your retail stores are messy and the products on the shelf are not faced up correctly and you've got shit all over the place that isn't where it's supposed to be, but you think you're going to execute on your high level business goals, you're fucking dreaming. If you treat a customer who comes into your business as a customer who's worth, I don't know, let's say a $10 sale or a $10 service, differently to how you treat a customer who's worth a $100,000 product sale or a $100,000 service sale, you got no fucking chance treating that big customer the way you need to treat them if you let the little $10 customer slide. Every customer matters. All the 1%ers matter. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything in business. Those of you who don't run a business, in your career, the quality of your communication with every internal partner, every external partner counts. You can't expect to slack off in the way that you respond to emails or the way that you respond to phone calls or the way that you treat certain employees in the workplace because they're not that big a deal and expect that you're going to be able to communicate effectively with the big important people internally, externally. It doesn't work like that. If you slack off in the small, little quality of your communication in the small things, there's absolutely no way that you're going to be able to execute on the big things. The two things aren't congruent. Every communication matters. And what about in relationships? What about in your personal relationships? All of the little things count, guys. You know this instinctively. If you start slacking off on, you walk in to your home after a day of work and you don't go and give your wife or your husband a big hug and a big kiss and say, how was your day? You start slacking off on that, you got no fucking chance. You got no chance. A little saying that I love when it comes to personal relationships in particular, but actually applies to all sorts of relationships, friendships, business relationships. If you treated the relationship like you did in the beginning, it would never end. If you start sliding on the little things that at the beginning of the relationship were the big things, you're going to be in trouble. This is why the small things matter, guys. So then the question is, how do you get the small things back on track? If you're listening now and you're like, you know what, fuck, when it comes to my fitness, I am letting it slide when it comes to my diet. I'm not weighing my food correctly. If I overweigh shit or underweigh shit, I do let it slide. I go, well, it's not that big a deal. I'll just train harder, train less hard, whatever the fuck, I'll make up for it in different areas. In your business, if you're at the point where you're like, fuck, you know what? My retail stores don't look the way I want them to look. They're not presented the way I want them to present. My office looks like a fucking bomb's hit it. My desk is a shit show. How, what do I do here? In your career, if this resonates with you and you're the sort of person that you rush to get back to emails, you don't take the time to proofread them, there's spelling mistakes in your shit, the way you communicate with certain people is different to the way you communicate with other people depending on how important you think those people are. How do you fix that shit? And when it comes to your relationship, if you know that you're starting to let those things slide that you would not have let slide at the beginning of the relationship, it's time to course correct. So how do we do it? How do you get the small things back on track? I think there's two things to consider here, guys. The first one is the awareness is the first part. And that's really, if there's one thing that you take from listening to this podcast, that's what I want you guys to take from it, is just this awareness. Because if you're not pulled up on, if somebody doesn't pull you up on it, or you don't pull yourself up on it, or you don't hear a piece of content like this episode that forces you to become aware of it and pull yourself up on it, a lot of the times you just don't fucking know. And you can't figure out why you're not moving towards the big goals in different areas of your life. And it's because you're not executing on the 1%ers. It's because the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, and you're not doing the little things the way that you need to. So I think the first part is having awareness and then starting to identify the gaps. As you guys are listening to this and resonating with some of these different scenarios, that's the first step of the awareness, is start identifying the gaps. Where are the gaps in your fitness? Where are the gaps in your business? Where are the gaps in your career? Where are the gaps in your relationship? And does the way that you treat those little things, those gaps, do they align with who you're trying to become? Do they align with the identity that you're trying to adopt? Let me ask you guys a few questions. Back to those examples that we just went through. Are you the sort of person who lets their diet slide? Is that who you're trying to become? Are you trying to become the sort of person who doesn't give a fuck about the 3 grams here or there, the 10% here or there? Does that align with who you're trying to become in your fitness? Does that align with what you're trying to achieve in your fitness? Are you trying to achieve a certain goal plus or minus 10%? Fuck no. You're trying to crush that goal. So you have to crush every single gram in your diet because that aligns with who you're trying to become and what you're trying to achieve. In your business, are you the sort of person who presents their business poorly? Are you the sort of person who presents their retail stores poorly? Are you the sort of person who allows their office building to look like a bomb has hit it? Are you the sort of person who allows your desk to get to a point where there's fucking shit all over it and you don't even know what's what and where's where? Are you the sort of person who treats low-value customers like shit? Does that align with what sort of business person you're trying to become? Does that align with the business goals that you're trying to achieve? Fuck no, it doesn't align. Awareness. Find the gaps. Make sure they align. In your career, are you the sort of person who lets typos slide in their email? Are you the sort of person who communicates with different people differently when it comes to quality of your communication because you think some people are more important than others? Does that align with the promotion you're trying to achieve? Does that align with becoming the CEO of the company that you work for at some point? Is that how the CEO acts at the moment? Fuck no. You got to focus on all these little things. And in your relationship, are you the sort of person who takes their relationship for granted? The people who you look up to, who have in personal relationships, for example, who have 20, 30, 40, 50-year marriages, do you think that's how a certain husband acts? Takes their relationship for granted? Do you think that's how a certain wife acts in that relationship? Takes it for granted? What about long-term friendships? What about long-term business relationships? Does it align with those people who you look up to in the relationship sphere? The way that you take your relationship for granted with all the little things? Fuck no, it doesn't align. So you got to identify those gaps. You got to recognize that the way you're doing the small things doesn't align with who you're trying to become, with what you're trying to achieve in all the different areas of your life. And then you got to figure out how to anchor back in and refocus on absolutely crushing the 1%ers, on making sure that you do all the little things with the same passion, with the same consciousness, with the same intention, with the same intensity that you do all of the big things that lead to what you're trying to achieve and who you're trying to become. I think the final thing I want to say here, guys, and this is another thing that I think is often overlooked, is I've mentioned the 4 different areas of your life: fitness, business, career, relationships, which is what we touch on all of these in almost every episode of this podcast. Something that I think is often overlooked when it comes to the 1%ers, when it comes to the little things, is that there is also interplay between the different areas of your life here. The way you do the little things in your fitness will reflect in the way you do the big things in your business or your career. The way you do the little things in your relationship will reflect how you perform in your business or your career. The way you do the little things in your fitness will reflect what sort of a partner you are in your relationship. So it's not just single dimensional here. It's not just linear, like if you want to focus on fitness, it's just about every gram in your diet. And that's going to lead to you achieving your fitness goals. That is also going to interplay with your business, your career, and your relationships. There is interplay between every different area of your life here. So if you're trying to become a world-class business person, but you're letting shit slide in your relationship, you got no fucking chance. If you're trying to become a world-class husband or wife, but you let shit slide in your fitness, you've got no fucking chance. If you're trying to become a world-class athlete in your fitness, but you let shit slide in your relationship or your career or your business, you got no fucking chance. You guys think that it's coincidence that some of the highest achievers that you look up to in different areas of your life are often higher achievers across every area of their life? You think that's a fucking coincidence? It's not a coincidence. It's because true, legitimate high achievers understand that the 1%ers in all different areas of their life have to be executed perfectly to allow them to achieve the big goals and the big visions in all other areas of their life. And it all connects together like an intricate spider web. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Let me extend that out a little bit for you guys so you can see what I'm trying to get at here. The way you do one thing in any area of your life is the way you do everything in any other area of your life. There's interaction here. So when you guys are adopting this awareness and identifying the gaps, I encourage you to look at all different areas of your life and the interplay between all the other areas of your life, because a gap in your fitness is going to lead to a big problem in your business career. A gap in your relationship is going to lead to a big problem in your fitness, so on and so forth. So it's not just this single unidimensional awareness. It's awareness across everything. It's awareness across all areas of your life. Where are the gaps? Do the gaps align with who you're trying to become in all areas of your life? And if they don't, you need to anchor back in, you need to refocus, and you need to start plugging those gaps. If you're trying to get to the next level in any area of your life, anchor back into the 1%ers in all areas of your life. Start there, execute consciously with intention and intensity. And guys, remember, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Fitness Times Business Podcast. We hope you enjoyed listening. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform. And if you enjoyed this episode and took some value from it, make sure you share it with your friends, your family, and your followers. And if you haven't yet, be sure to leave us a 5-star rating.